What cheer, y'all? Welcome back to Right at the Wire. Well, it's Preakness Day on Saturday at Pimlico, and we've got an all-stakes late pick five. Nice of Pimlico not to include the getaway race, so we can go all the way with some good fields. The first leg is the Jim McKay Turf Sprint, ungraded at 125,000. The ninth race on the card. It's five furlongs on the turf for 3-year-olds and up. And for those of you who don't know, who aren't as old as me and others in our group, Jim McKay was the lead sports announcer for ABC for many, many years. You may remember him from the '72 Olympics, that wonderfully tender call he made about the Israeli Olympic team. But he was a great fan of horse racing and a horseman in his own right. He created the Maryland Million at Pimlico, which they still run to this day. And he was just a great, great guy and a real credit to the sports world and in particular horse racing. He was non-pareil with his Triple Crown coverage on ABC, and he is dearly missed. He was a great, great guy. So for those of you who don't know about him, give it a look because Jim McKay was a pretty special guy. So we'll take a look, and we've seen some of these before. This is a field that's a little, I'll be honest, a little underwhelming. I think Coppola is likely to be the speed, and I think he stands out over everyone, and he would be my pick to win it. I have a little reservation in that outside of Gulfstream, he doesn't win a whole lot. However, this is a drop in class for him. He does normally run at the graded stakes level. He is coming back after a couple of weeks, but I think he'll be all right in this field. He likely will be the speed. I think he's going to get some pressure from Four Harp, and perhaps Mattingly will make things a little interesting. Maybe Boats are rocking a little bit, but I think he's got a speed edge. I think he'll be able to get to where he wants to, and he should come out on top in this one. 5 furlongs in particular, I'm not really interested in off-the-pace runners. You want that early speed, and they generally win these races. So I like Coppola here for Dale Romans. Determined Kingdom didn't do so hot in his last start, but it was the first off the bench, and we know he can run better than that, and I think he's a pretty good class fit as well here. If he rebounds and can come back to one of his better efforts just off the pace, then he looms a horse who can factor here. I don't know that he'll have necessarily enough to win, but I think he's one you can comfortably use. Mattingly ran a really nice race last time at Gulfstream. He just shot out of the gate from the 10 hole, and there was no looking back. This is a horse that it was a really solid effort, and taking another step puts him right in the mix. You're getting 8-1 at a pretty good price. And if for some reason that things get too hot for Coppola up front, Mattingly might be right there. And I think he's a really good price play at 8-1. I'll be honest about No. Hudson. I have never really been a fan of this horse. I just haven't. I think he's been a disappointment generally throughout his career for Wesley Ward, particularly on the bigger stages. He really has never fired. And the last race, I think he ran his best class rating in an allowance race. So this is a little bit of class relief, I suppose you could say. And he's a good fit here. But again, he's an underachiever, and coming from off the pace where Coppola is going to have a pretty big edge, I guess you have to kind of throw him in the mix. I can't get, Coppola's ran on Derby Day, so he may be coming back a little short. So I think we have to spread a little bit. But so I'll throw No. Hudson in there, but I don't like the price and I don't like the horse. To me, he's an underachiever, and I may throw him off if we see how things are going on Saturday. Woody's the lone closer. I think this is a little short for him. Probably 5.5 or 6 would be better. But he didn't run badly in his last race. Did take advantage of the rail. But he should be, as I always like throwing closers in there, particularly when they're all by themselves in the back. You've got a lot of horses who will be up amongst the leaders, and we'll be backing up. So there may be probably isn't going to be a whole lot coming late. That may allow for a good trip for Whitty, and at 10-1, you're getting a pretty good price. But I think this is a good class fit for Coppola, and he's my pick in the Jim McKay. Next, we have the Sir Barton Stakes. It's ungraded at 100,000, 10th race on the card, running a mile and a 16th for 3-year-olds. An interesting little fact, Sir Barton, while winning the Triple Crown, the Kentucky Derby was his first win. He was a maiden going into the Kentucky Derby. Just found that out this year. Kind of an interesting little fact there. Win the Triple Crown for your first 3 wins. Pretty good. Okay, we take a look at this field, and this is another one that it's not very deep, but there's some talent in here for sure. Crudo for Todd Pletcher, I really don't like in this race at all. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. However, if there was a little more depth in this field, I would throw him out, but I think he could probably hang around. That last race, he had everything his own way. The fractions were incredibly soft, and nobody bothered him on the front end, and he just walked home. You never want to bet a horse coming back, especially stepping up in class after an effort like that. Moreover, the speed figure was a little on the light side, and I certainly think that 2 turns is what this horse wants. I don't know that he's got the firepower necessarily to win this race. So 5-2, I just can't like him in this spot. The problem really more than anything else is I couldn't find a whole lot of value within this field to override him, because I'd certainly like to. So he's one you can use, but I don't see him as a pick to win this. Best Friend Rocket for the coach. Is bombed out in the Arkansas Derby, probably a little too much for him, but dropping back in class here, he maybe has a little bit better shot. His speed figures are kind of in line with this race, and he's a little saltier. Tab looks pretty good, so I think he's poised to run a good race. At 15-1, you do get a nice price, and I'll throw him in the mix. But he's got an outside shot to take this one, but I think it might be a little bit too much for him. Invictus is my pick to win, and frankly, I think he's pretty good. I think I'm going to single him in the pick 5. I don't see anybody who can beat him here for Brad Cox. He just towers over the field speed figure wise. Stretching out to a route isn't going to be a problem, especially in a race that's is an ungraded stakes without a lot of punch to it. And I think he'll sit off the leaders, and when the time comes, he'll draw off and win this race. I think he's a logical selection, and there isn't much more to say about him than that. I mean, it's his race to lose, in my opinion. Authentic Gallop, we had a little bit of interest in earlier in the year, but he really hasn't. I think when he did try to step up into Stakes Company, things were a little too much for him, trying to get up amongst the leaders. That's not his style. And consequently, I think he fell back. He's probably going to have things more comfortable here for him. He'll be off the pace. 8-1, you're getting a pretty good price. And I think there's a little bit of talent here. I still think he's kind of one-paced, but in a race like this, he does have the potential to get up into the exotics, but that would be the extent of my interest. I liked what I saw from Just a Fair Shake last time. Couldn't run down Pay Billy, who passed him in the stretch. But it was a sharp effort, and I thought Pay Billy ran a really good race, and he's been the class of the Maryland circuit so far for the 3-year-olds. But I liked what I saw, and in this field, I think being a late runner, coming from off the pace, I think Just a Fair Shake has a pretty good shot. If you're looking for an upset candidate, he just might be the one. At 6-1, you're getting a pretty good price. But I think this is Invictus's race to lose. I just think he towers over this field. So he's my single in the Sir Barton. The third leg in the All-Stakes Pick 5 is the J.W. Murphy. It's ungraded at 100,000, 11th race on the card, running a mile on the turf for 3-year-olds. And this is another field that, it's not terribly deep. It's a little on the top-heavy side. Clock Tower is for Wesley Ward. It has shown signs that he's got something. I think the last race, coming off the pace, that's not what he wants. He's certainly more effective on the front end, and I think he's going to get the lead here, especially from the 3-hole. At a mile, a better distance for him. There's a lot of things to like about Clock Tower here, and he's a really good bet to. I almost put him on top. I think he's a really good bet to just take him all the way, given the fact that the more prominent runners are back towards will be running from off the pace. I don't see anybody up on the front end who's really going to give Clock Tower much of a bother, and he's awful dangerous in this spot, in my opinion. Sole Volante is coming second off the layoff and ran an okay third last time. He looked like he needed a race. I still, I don't know if he's got that kick that you want to see from an off the pace runner. And at 7-2, the price seems a little short to me. But in this field, I think he's one that you can comfortably use. End of Romance is a bit of a mystery. When you see a horse running overseas carrying 137 pounds, that means that he's got something. You don't see that unless the betting public or they think he's a major player. He did pretty well overseas. He has not done that great since he's been in the States, and his last race in particular was not terribly promising, but it was a move from synthetic to turf, and he did get his a better speed figure, appreciably better than he ran at Turfway. Coming in third off the layoff for Grand Motion, this is one that could very well put it all together. I have to believe I'm going to give him another crack. This may be a very good field for him, being an ungraded stakes. And we'll throw End of Romance in there with, as kind of a value play. I think he's probably more a bet for under, but still, I think he's got the potential. Reagan's Wit ran, this is a horse for Cherie DeVoe, Jose Ortiz. This is a good spot for him, I think, for sure. But the one thing I'm going to say about Reagan's Wit is he doesn't have that electric lick in the stretch. He keeps coming, but it's not like, you watch him, and I won't say I'm underwhelmed, but I'm not impressed either. I think he's a nice horse. This is a good class fit for him, and I'm going to pick him on top because I think he certainly has the potential to get better with Cherie DeVoe. But right now, the fact that there isn't a lot of early lick in this race, I think Clock Tower, it really has a big advantage over him. And, it was a really tough call between the two, but we've seen Clock Tower fade quite often in other races and be a little disappointing. So it was he's a little shaky for me to trust, but I think he's got a really good scenario ahead of him. So Twain, I'm going to throw in the mix. He just came off a turf sprint, ran a pretty solid race. He's by Kitten's Joy, so he should want 2 turns. It is the first time doing something, and as we know, stretching out from a turf sprint to a turf route is a much bigger step up, I think, than a dirt sprint to a dirt route. So it's a pretty tall order. This one looks like he may have some potential to be better. 20-1, throw him in the mix. Why not? There's a lot of disappointing horses in this race, like Studley Do-Right, for example, or Currahee, who just haven't quite got there. So you want upside, so throw Twain in the mix for the value. But I really think it's, I think it's either Reagan's Wit or Clock Tower in this one. And while I did pick Reagan's Wit, I'm kind of leaning a little bit towards Clock Tower. They were like 1 and 1A to me based upon the race shape. It'll be a post-time decision. We'll see what the tote board looks like. But I think those two are your top 2 in the J.W. Murphy. Fourth leg of the All-Stakes Pick 5 is the Dinner Party Stakes. It's a Grade 3, 12th race on the card, running a mile and an eighth on the turf for 3-year-olds and up. Big field. You notice no early speed. There's no speed in this race. and it makes for a rather interesting handicapping puzzle. Um, I'm going to throw Crabs in Beer in here because Crabs in Beer finished second in the dinner party last year. He's a local runner, and he just always seems to get it out, get it going on these big stakes days. There's really no other reason to pick him except he just likes Pimlico, and I don't think he can win this race, but I'm going to use him for underneath at 30 to 1. Again, this is another race with some disappointing horses and some underachievers. So that's why I'm throwing Crabs in Beer. And I don't think he's going to win, but again, for the price, I'll throw him in. I settled on Neat. Neat has been a horse that is another one. I've never really been a monster fan of his, but I'll tell you, now that he's older, his last race, he had all kinds of trouble. Quite a few of them did, as a matter of fact. But I'll tell you, I really liked what I saw from the turn of foot he had, the ability to overcome trouble, and he was coming late. And I just liked he had that greasy acceleration that you like to see. And of the ones in here, I think he's got the most upside. And I really liked what I saw from him in that race, particularly overcoming trouble to still keep at it and persist and get up for third. So at 8 to 1, I think he's a great price. And so we're going to go with Neat. Trickery, we all know about. He's been a solid performer on the turf. The 13 hole is going to be a bit of a tall order. He likes to be up amongst the leaders and in a race without a lot of speed. I don't know. I mean, that really is what bothers me more than anything. He can win this race for sure. But I just didn't see enough to get overly excited about him. And the outside post makes him a real tall order. I'd use him for sure, and he can win this race. And we'll use him in a race that I think you definitely have to spread. But I don't see him being where he towers over this field, especially at 5 to 2. I don't know if he justifies that price. Irish Aces is another one I've never liked. He always disappoints. He's an underwhelming horse. He always takes a lot of money, and maybe it's his name. I don't know. He's got quality without a doubt, but he never seems to get there. But we're going to use him, but I've got an asterisk by him. I'm going to use him for under only because that's what he does. At 10 to 1, he gives you a good shot at spicing up the exotics. Fort Washington is another one that has been, to me, a disappointing horse. He seems to always end up in the money, but he proved me wrong a couple back where he won, and I didn't expect it. And so I think his form is good. And again, this race is, there's a lot of horses in it. You could say that, but there's just a lot of them that underwhelm and underachieve and are disappointing. And so, but Fort Washington looks like he's got pretty good form, so I'll throw him in there. Same with Fulmineo. I think this is a horse that seems to be getting better. He's got upside. That's the appeal to me. I liked what I saw last time. I thought he had a pretty good effort. And at 12 to 1, you're getting a good price in a race that I think you absolutely have to spread. Balnikov won this race last year, but he doesn't look like he has quite the same form coming into this race. And at 9 to 2, in a race like this, I want to try to beat him. Signator, same thing. He won his last race, but it was more the beneficiary of where others had trouble. He was able to get free. He seems like kind of a plotter to me. And in a race without speed, I think he may be up against it a bit. So we're going against him as well. So we're going to pick Neat. I think I really like him in this spot. And at 8 to 1, hopefully we can get an even better price if everybody jumps all over Trickery in Fort Washington. But we'll take Neat in the dinner party. Last leg of the All-Stakes Pick 5 is, of course, the Preakness, a Grade 1, 13th race on the card, running 1 mile and 3/16 for the 3-year-olds. We have talked about this race in our individual post, and if you want more in-depth analysis, I encourage you to go there. But we'll just, with some broad strokes, we'll go over. You see all those asterisks there? I'm not throwing anybody out. If you see an asterisk, I'm using him for third or fourth in the try and the super. If I decide to go that way, to me, it's a race where there's just so many who can get third or fourth. I mean, it may be cost prohibitive, especially when we have a real short price on top. But the ones that I've settled on, journalism is the pick to win this. I can't go against him. He ran an excellent Derby. The only question really is, can he run back on 2 weeks? I think he ran plenty of times at 2 years old. I think he can handle the rigors. He's a sturdy horse, and he's a bully. He's a Curran. He's an alpha male, and even if he's not at his best, I think he can win this race. He's that kind of horse. He can gut it out if he has to. It's the price is going to be short. We all know that. I would very much like to single journalism in the Preakness. I normally would. I did in the Derby, and I would here. But because it was sort of an impromptu selection to come in, and he may have been pointed to the Derby, I'm going to take one other shot against him, and that's Clever again. I really like this horse. I think he's going to be in exactly tactically the right position. If he's not on the lead, he'll be just off of them. This horse can run all day. I really liked what I saw in his last race. He's got a very nice way of going. He's improving rapidly, and he just looks to me like, he handled gaming. Gaming, granted, he is what he is, but he did come back and run a pretty good Pate mile. So he's not chopped liver, as we say. So I think Clever again. It looks like to me a horse who's running against himself. That's what you want to see. He's got that type of progression. I think tactically he's in a good place, and the field is not the deepest. And so I think if he can take a step forward for Steve Asmussen, he's got a really good shot at winning this race. So Clever again is my second choice. As far as a couple others to think about, American Promise, we thought he might do something in the Derby, and it didn't work out. But as I mentioned a couple of times, in my Preakness post as well as my contender profile, when you see a horse who's coming off a fairly good layoff and is that keen early on and then backs up, watch out in the next race. And that's I've won more long shots doing that, seeing that. Usually it's when you see that one on the first call and then they drop way back to like 20 or 30 lengths back. That means they're rock fit. They're really keen, and they just expend too much energy early. I'm not sure that it's exactly the case for American Promise, and I'm still not 100% on him, I'll say that. I'm not sure he's good enough, but I think he's going to run a better race for the coach, and at 15-1, he'll be in my exotics. I don't know that he can win this race, but he's one I'm certainly going to use. Of course, we got to use Sandman. He's the late runner, but, I think the Derby validated those Arkansas races were not very good. And, he had everything his own way and he won, but that last fraction was not good, and it wasn't good in the Kentucky Derby. But this field, he is a horse who can run all day. There's a couple in here who have some distance questions. And I think he has the class. He's certainly one of the top three in this race, I think. So you can pencil him in for third. Can he win this race? I don't think so. I don't think he can beat journalism, even on his best day. And let's remember, Sandman's coming back from running in the Derby as well. Changing the shoes, that's trainer speak to me. I mean, can that really make that much of a difference? And the other thing is it may be muddy again at Pimlico like it was in the Derby. They've been getting rain this week. A smaller field certainly helps a horse like Sandman, but he has no tactical speed. And he just still, there's that glimmer of immaturity that he still always has as a Tappet. Seems to have shaken it the last couple starts, but you never know. So Sandman, a good bet for third. Hate the price at 4-1, and it's going to be too short in this race. But he is a pick for underneath only. So journalism is my pick to win the Preakness. But I really like Clever again a lot in this spot, and he is my second choice. So we'll look at our ticket. We're going to spread in the ninth race, with 2, 4, 6, and 8 in the Jim McKay. We like Coppola, but I think we've got to find a couple of other options. In the 10th race, Invictus, I don't see anybody beating him. We're going to single him. In the 11th, we're going to spread a little bit with 3, 5, and 7. Reagan's Wit is the pick, but I think End of Romance as well as Clock Tower in particular, stand a really good chance at a potential upset. In the dinner party, I think it's a total spread race. It's that kind of field. We like the 4. I like Neat a lot, but we'll add a couple others, the 10, 11, and 13 as additional options. And then finally in the Preakness, I would not normally do this. I would either single journalism and be done with it, or try to go against him. But I think he's really good, has an excellent chance to win this race. But I just want to throw Clever again in there to give us hedge just a little bit. And I think we've got some potential for value in some of the other races. So I would hate for us to get down to the 5th leg and then Clever again winning an upset and we miss out. So we're going to include him. So that's 4 times 3 times 4 times 2. That's a $96 ticket on a $1 base. And to me, I think there's a lot of competitive races here. The fields are pretty well balanced, so it should be a pretty interesting sequence for sure. Hope this analysis helps you with your own wagering strategy, and I wish you the best of luck as always. Certainly, if you do like content like this, please like and subscribe. And thanks again. The community continues to grow. Loving the input we get from you guys. Keep it up. Really appreciate it. We will have our full card selections, best bets, and value plays for Pimlico on Saturday. For Saturday's card, and we'll likely have that tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. It should be a real fun day of racing. I'm going to try to get something out for the Black Eyed Susan, but again, time is of the essence, and I apologize, but we're going to do the best we can. So that's it from here. I'll talk to you soon, and until then, be well.